In the sprawling expanse of the American West, where the land stretches far and wide beneath a sky untainted by the smoke of industry, there was a rancher named Ethan Carther. Ethan's life was one of simple pleasures and hard work, tending to his land and cattle alongside his family on a modest homestead nestled in the heart of the frontier. The Carther Ranch, known for its lush pastures and the clear, cool waters of the creek that ran through it, was a piece of paradise carved out of the wild. But paradise, as Ethan would soon learn, was a fragile thing. One dusk, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in shades of fire and gold, Ethan rode back from a day's work in the fields. The gentle clink of his horse's hooves against the rocky path was a familiar, comforting sound, a testament to the day's labor and the promise of rest. However, as he crested the final hill that offered a view of his homestead, a sense of unease prickled at the back of his neck. Smoke. Not the thin, wispy kind from a hearth fire, but thick black clouds billowing into the sky, signaling a disaster of unthinkable proportions. Ethan spurred his horse into a frantic gallop, racing against the sinking heart in his chest. The ranch was ablaze, flames devouring the life he had built. His heart thundered, a cacophony that drowned out all else as he dismounted, calling out for his family. But the only answer was the crackle of fire and the sinister silence that followed. In the ashes of his home, Ethan found the remnants of his life, the cruel handiwork of the Black Ridge Gang, a band of outlaws as ruthless as they were shadowy, led by the infamous Jedediah Black. With his world reduced to embers, Ethan was left with nothing but a burning need for vengeance. This need consumed him, becoming the beacon that guided his every step. Swearing an oath over the ruins of his past, Ethan vowed to hunt down every member of the Black Ridge Gang, to bring them to justice or to send them to their maker. Thus began Ethan Carter's journey across the untamed lands, a quest for retribution that would lead him into the heart of darkness that lay hidden beneath the wild beauty of the frontier. Ethan's first clue led him to the town of Crossroads, a bustling hub where tales and rumors flowed as freely as the whiskey in the saloon. It was said that the Black Ridge Gang had been seen in the area, spending their ill-gotten gains and boasting of their conquests. Crossroads was a place where the law was as flexible as the morals of its inhabitants, a place where a man on a mission could find both allies and enemies. In the dim light of the saloon, amidst the haze of smoke and the murmur of deals being struck, Ethan listened. He learned of a hidden canyon where the gang was rumored to lie low between raids, a place fortified by nature and guarded by those loyal to Jedediah Black. Ethan knew that finding the canyon was key to unraveling the gang's operations and ultimately to confronting Jedediah himself. But Crossroads offered more than just information. It was here that Ethan's path crossed with Sarah Jennings, a sharpshooter with a vendetta of her own against the Black Ridge Gang. Her skills with a rifle were matched only by her knowledge of the gang's movements, and she too sought justice for wrongs past. Together, they formed an unlikely alliance, united by a common goal and driven by the ghosts of their pasts. As Ethan and Sarah prepared to leave Crossroads, heading towards the rumored location of the hidden canyon, they were unaware of the eyes that watched them depart. In the shadows, alliances were being forged and plans laid that would test their resolve and their quest for vengeance. The journey to the canyon was fraught with danger, not just from the natural perils of the wild, but from those who called it home. Bandits, rival outlaws, and creatures more beast than man lurked in the spaces where civilization had yet to lay its claim. Yet, Ethan and Sarah pressed on, determined to face whatever challenges lay ahead, their bond strengthening with each step taken together towards their inevitable confrontation with the Black Ridge Gang. The stage was set for a clash that would echo through the annals of frontier tales, a story of vengeance, alliance, and the indomitable spirit of those who dared to challenge the darkness of the West. As Ethan and Sarah ventured deeper into the heart of the frontier, the landscape around them grew increasingly rugged. a stark reminder of the wildness that still held dominion over this vast land. The canyon, hidden away like a secret whispered amongst thieves, was cloaked in the shadows of towering cliffs and dense foliage that seemed to swallow light itself. Their journey was not without its trials. The land tested them, as did the people they encountered, some offering aid, others deceit. It was a world where trust was a currency as valuable as gold, and Ethan found himself weighing each encounter with a cautious mind. Sarah, with her keen eye and unwavering resolve, proved to be more than just an ally. She was a mirror to Ethan's own determination, reflecting the strength he needed to see in himself. One night, under a canopy of stars so vast it humbled the heart, they shared their stories. Ethan spoke of his family, of the laughter that once filled his home, and of the silence that now echoed in its absence. Sarah spoke of a brother taken by the gang's cruelty, of her journey from grief to resolve. It was a moment of connection, a shared understanding that their fight was about more than just personal vendettas. It was about justice for all those who had suffered at the hands of the Black Ridge Gang. As they neared the canyon, the signs of the gang's presence grew more evident. Tracks led them onward, and the air held a tension that whispered of impending confrontation. Ethan and Sarah readied themselves, knowing that what lay ahead would test everything they were made of. The entrance to the canyon was as formidable as the legend suggested, a narrow passage that wound its way through the rock, as if the earth itself had been split by some great force. It was here at the mouth of the canyon that they encountered the first of the Black Ridge Gang's sentries. The battle was swift, a testament to Ethan and Sarah's prowess and determination. But it was only the beginning. As they ventured further into the canyon, they encountered more of Jedediah Black's men, each skirmish drawing them closer to the heart of the gang's lair. It was within the deepest part of the canyon that they found it, a hidden encampment, fortified and bustling with the activity of those who lived outside the law. And there, among the outlaws and thieves, stood Jedediah Black, as menacing in person as the tales had painted him. Ethan's heart raced, not with fear, but with the clarity of purpose. He had come this far, faced down every challenge the frontier had thrown at him, all for this moment. Beside him, Sarah stood ready, her rifle in hand, a silent vow hanging between them to see their mission through to its end. But the confrontation with Jedediah Black would not be as straightforward as Ethan had imagined. For within the heart of the canyon, secrets long buried would come to light, revealing truths that would shake Ethan to his core and challenge everything he thought he knew about his quest for vengeance. The final chapter of Ethan and Sarah's journey was upon them, a confrontation that would decide not just their fates, but the fate of the frontier itself. In the shadowed heart of the canyon, with the sun dipping low, casting long shadows that danced across the jagged rocks, Ethan and Sarah stood face to face with Jedediah Black and his gang. The air was thick with tension, a palpable force that seemed to slow time itself. Jedediah, with his cold, piercing eyes, regarded Ethan with a mix of curiosity and disdain. "Ethan Carther," he drawled, his voice echoing off the canyon walls. "You've come a long way for revenge, but you'll find no satisfaction here." Ethan's grip on his revolver tightened, but before he could speak, Sarah stepped forward. "It's not just about revenge," she declared, her voice steady. "It's about justice, for all the lives you've destroyed, for the pain you've caused." A smirk played on Jedediah's lips as he looked between Ethan and Sarah. "Justice?" he scoffed. "In this land, justice is a fairy tale told by the weak to comfort themselves." It was then, amidst the standoff, that a surprising figure emerged from the shadows behind Jedediah. A woman, older, with a stern face marked by the hardships of frontier life. She stepped forward, her eyes locked on Ethan. "Ethan," she began, her voice carrying a weight that immediately drew his attention. "There's more to this tale than you know. Jedediah Black isn't just the leader of some outlaw gang. He's your brother. The revelation hit Ethan like a thunderbolt, staggering him both physically and emotionally. Memories flashed through his mind, images of a childhood long buried, of a brother he had once looked up to before hardship and betrayal had torn them apart. Jedediah's smirk faded, replaced by a look of resignation. Yes, Ethan, it's true. But you must understand, our paths diverged long ago, shaped by choices and circumstances beyond our control. The standoff had transformed, no longer just a confrontation, but a reckoning of past wounds and familial bonds fractured by the harsh realities of the frontier. Sarah, sensing the shift, lowered her rifle slightly, her gaze shifting between the brothers. The gang members, uncertain, looked to Jedediah for guidance, their hands still on their weapons, but hesitance creeping into their posture. Ethan, struggling to process the flood of emotions, lowered his revolver. "Jedediah," he said, his voice a mixture of anger, confusion, and a deep, mournful sorrow. "How could you? Our family. You destroyed everything I cared for." Jedediah shook his head, a gesture of regret. "I was lost, Ethan, caught up in a cycle of vengeance and power. I convinced myself it was the only way to survive in this land. But facing you now, I see the cost of my choices." The canyon, once a place of impending violence, had become a crucible for redemption and understanding. Ethan and Jedediah, brothers torn apart by the wild, unforgiving nature of the frontier, found themselves at a crossroads of their own making. In the fading light, a new understanding dawned. The cycle of vengeance that had driven Ethan to this moment no longer held the same allure. He saw now that justice was not about retribution, but about breaking the chains of hatred and violence that bound them. With a heavy heart, Ethan made a decision. "Jedediah, you must answer for your crimes, but not with your life. We'll take you back to Crossroads. Let the law decide your fate." Jedediah nodded, accepting his fate with a dignity that surprised Ethan. The gang, witnessing the resolution between the brothers, laid down their arms, their loyalty to Jedediah overtaken by the realization of their own paths to redemption. As Ethan, Sarah, and Jedediah made their way out of the canyon, the stars above shone down, a silent testament to the power of forgiveness and the enduring hope for a better tomorrow on the frontier. And so the tale of the lone rider's vengeance reached its conclusion, not with the bang of gunfire, but with the quiet, profound understanding that even in the wildest of lands, redemption and reconciliation could find a way to blossom amidst the thorns of vengeance.